Hey! Whee! Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, Pastor Will.
Hey, how are you today?
Good evening.
How is everybody?
Everybody's doing fine.
Everybody in this room is doing okay. This is Pastor Will and
Jimmy.
with the world famous Will and
Jimmy Show.
except the other day it was the Jim and Willie Show.
Yes, it was.
Wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. You know who else I am?
Who are you?
Somebody just told me yesterday, you might get a kick out of this if I can find it. I should have had this ready. You know, our PAL group meets next door
Right.
on the street. That's Parents of Addicted Loved Ones. Susie is the facilitator for that. She sent this to me yesterday morning. She said, I just needed to let you know that your status has recently been elevated.
Oh, boy.
Yesterday evening at the PAL meeting, Larry announced you as the Pope of Kingsport. We will now address you as Pope Willie. It's kind of
good.
a
Pope Willie.
Pope Willie. So anyway, we have to laugh a little bit. Okay, what does that make you?
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
Okay. Anyway, Jimmy.
That's funny.
Yeah, Pope Willie. I forgot to tell you about that.
But there's some truth in that. There really is. You're called the Godfather around here for a reason.
That's right. I am called the Godfather. Yeah. I've been called a few other things that probably we couldn't do on a family show.
Shouldn't say on the show.
No. But anyway, Jimmy, here it is, almost toward the end of May
Already.
again.
Yep. This is a holiday weekend. This is Memorial Day
That's hard to
weekend.
believe, yeah.
The kind of the unofficial beginning of summer.
I always think of Memorial Day as being the last weekend
And it usually
of
is.
the month. And this week it's kind of flipped around on us.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah. So
So, you know, that means
I guess.
probably from now until the end of May, things are going to be topsy-turvy. School will be out. Memorial Day weekend.
well,
people
the
taking
next
holidays.
Monday would be June the 2nd.
Oh, it would?
So I guess that's why. So this Monday, upcoming Monday is the 26th. That's Memorial Day. And then the next one would be June
Already
2nd.
in the
So
June.
I guess it's the final Monday
Okay.
of May.
Well,
But
I don't know. I get mixed up trying to keep up with that.
It's hard to keep track of, but that is so. It's
But it
hard to
is
believe.
like you say, the official beginning of summer.
It
And
is.
every year, I remember thinking about this. I started hearing the fireworks in the neighborhood, and I say, well, okay, there are three major days that mark the summer season, and that's Memorial Day, and then you've only got about 6 weeks until you're in July the 4th.
July the 4th, right?
More fireworks, and from there, from the 1st of July until the end of August, flies by like
It
that.
does. It's
And
over.
summer's over
That's it.
before it starts.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
anyway, time
very
sure
true.
does fly when you're having fun.
Yes.
So let's see, we got something special coming up tomorrow night.
We do.
Or, no, tomorrow afternoon, yes.
Tomorrow afternoon.
Tell us
It
about
is.
it.
Sorry, I was getting messages on the phone and just
Okay.
all kinds of stuff going on. You know, we've been trying to record here for an hour.
An
or
hour,
so,
yeah.
and just
The battery has been running down because the camera was set up.
Yeah.
And then we just had a run on people coming in. One lady came in to pray. Just people coming in
yeah.
off the streets.
So I forgot to turn the camera off, but we'll be okay. But yes, anyway, tomorrow.
If we suddenly go off, we didn't pass out or get raptured. It just means the battery's dead.
It's a good point. I'm glad you said that. Tonight's show may abruptly end, but I think we've got enough time. But tomorrow is Thursday, and it's our Thursday movie matinee for May, and we are showing. Here it is, right here in hand. Ordinary Angels.
I'm excited.
I am very excited for this film, and have not watched it yet. I've watched plenty of previews, but have not watched the movie, so I'm excited.
Okay.
And
Was it 2 hours roughly?
let's see here. It should tell on here somewhere how long it is. It's just short of 2 hours,
Okay,
118 minutes. So I think it's going to be a great
Okay.
movie.
And we've got,
the best part.
if you don't want to come for the movie, then we've still got some other attractions. We've got Chef's Pizza.
Lots of Chef's Pizza.
We've got popcorn made by the theater, and we've got cold drinks.
We do. Got some snacks.
So what more could you ask for?
Yeah.
All of it free of charge. given
Yeah.
to the community by someone who cares.
Yep. We're thankful for that person that cares.
Yes.
Multiple people that care.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to this. So if you can make plans now, I know a lot of people work during the day, but if you happen to have the afternoon off, or hey, there's still time, take the afternoon
Just
off.
call in that
Yeah.
you got something that happened.
And come in and get you a comfy seat. We turn the lights out and turn the sound up. We've got the big screens, 3 of those, so you got 3 different ways you can watch.
And we make sure everybody's awake when we end the movie and send them home.
Do we?
We've not locked anybody in here lately, so.
Not yet. So that's exciting. That's tomorrow, and we've got some more exciting news too.
We do.
We got a special delivery yesterday.
Oh, we did.
From
yes.
UPS. UPS
Absolutely,
came
yes.
with a lot of boxes. And what is this that we got here? There you go.
Faces from God's living room. Of course, up here in the corner, it says, "My name is Legion, for we are many." And so this is our second book. This is our first book. Many of you received it. Now, we're not on here selling anything, okay?
No.
Don't, in case you just joined us, we don't sell anything at Shades of Grace. This is our gift. It's a free gift. We ask you, if you live in the area and you want to pick one up, please come and get it, because we do have a few folks that are very important to us who live 1,000 miles away,
True.
500 miles away, 300 miles away, and we will have to send those.
Yes.
And the postage can get a little bit expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to send these locally, I don't think, unless it's an extenuating circumstance.
And it takes forever to get it locally.
Yeah, it
Just to go
does.
from Kingsport to Kingsport, you can take a week
Yeah.
or longer.
You let us know if you live locally and you're in a situation that you absolutely cannot get by Shades of Grace, then we may be able to work something out. But we need you to kind of do this. And Jimmy, when will it be online electronically? Virtually?
It's probably within another week.
Okay.
We'll have a digital.
Now, will the
download
pictures be
available.
online too?
The pictures will
Okay.
be there. It
Okay,
will be
good.
just like you're flipping through a book, but you're scrolling through it
Sure.
on your phone, your tablet, your computer,
Yeah.
whatever you want to
Or
use.
your ebook. So
Yep. So,
yeah, these are fast becoming obsolete.
Yeah. Yeah.
Newspapers are almost totally gone, and only a few more years, I'd say, there won't be newspapers. But and it's the same thing with printed material, just like this. But everybody's going now to the digital means, tablets, ebooks, all of that. So you can go online and read Reflection from God's Living Room and Legion, Faces from God's Living Room, online from right there sitting in your
Yeah.
chair.
Some of these.
If you have a tablet, that's the best way to do it, because the print is big. You know, really the print is fairly small in this, but if you've got a tablet, that would be the ideal way to do it, don't you think?
Yeah, and you can zoom in and zoom out. But
Right.
there's so many great pictures in this book, just
Yes.
like the last one.
Yes.
Here, we're just looking. Here's Miss Sherry.
Yeah.
And I don't want to tell you a lot about it because I want you to be able to. Here's another great picture
Yeah.
and another one. So
Yeah.
it's worth checking out. But we will post the digital download on our Facebook page.
Okay, and you'll announce that when
yeah.
it's ready.
Yeah, we have to reformat it and all that, but it's in the works.
Good.
Yep.
Well, we're excited about that. And guess what now?
What's that?
My third book, which is my first book, I started an autobiographical account back 30 years ago or more. And as I've mentioned before, I had lost the manuscript, and it has been found. And there's going to be at least 52 chapters. I may add a few more, because that book ended before I ever came to Shades of Grace.
Right.
I thought my ministry in life was over, so I thought I'd go ahead and write about it.
Little did you know.
And more has happened in the last 10 and 11 years here that I've been able to write 2 books about. But this is going to be my autobiography, and it's going to be titled Just Another Ordinary Day.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. I'm getting more and more
excited, yes.
excited.
Yep.
And you're going to love it too.
We're going to make sure this one doesn't take as long to get published. This book, the second book, well, the first, this was the first one we did. We'd never done anything like this
No.
before. And I'm really happy with the way that
yes.
it came out, considering this was a first try.
Yes.
But the second one, I don't know. We just kept hitting roadblocks, didn't we?
Yes, all the way.
We'd
hoped to have this done last fall.
Yeah, we were really
good 6 months behind.
We were coming along, and things were going good, and then we hit some hurdles here at the Shades of Grace that took our time away from it, and then we got back on it and really got it done, got it sent into the publisher, and boy, did they make a mess of it this time.
They did. Had to completely reset all of everything.
They just made it one long running story instead of chapters.
Right.
And did put page breaks, so we had to go back in and do all of that.
So this has got your chapters in red at the top and the pages numbered. And so I think you'll enjoy navigating this one much better, much easier than before. Mm-hmm. And so the third book, we're going to, I think, market it a little bit differently because, like I've said, everything that we do at Shades of Grace is without cost. We do not charge for these books, and they're quite expensive. We ordered 500 for our first go-round, and what did they cost us?
With the cost of the books and the initial publishing, 500 was almost $6,000.
$6,000 we paid up front to have 500 copies of this made. But like I said, folks come in off the street, people from different congregations who have been faithful to this ministry for the last almost 11 years. And this is the very least we can do is to offer this and give it to you as a token of our friendship and Thanksgiving for you. But I think on the third book that's coming out, it's going to have, it's probably going to be with 50-some chapters. And
they're long chapters.
And some of them are long chapters. There are a few short ones.
Yeah.
But it's going to be at least probably as thick as 3 or 4 of these. So I'm not sure what format they're going to be on. But I believe, Jimmy, we're going to try to put that on somehow. Since it is my work, the church isn't necessarily providing that. It's not going back into the ministry at Shades of Grace as these are. That I may have those where you can just order those online or somehow and just pay the market price for the book. How many of you would purchase my autobiography if we put it up that way? I promise you, I have been thrilled rereading it. Miss D copied. She typed it all for me, and she was thrilled with it. So, if you all think that would be good, that may be the best way for us to market that one.
Sure. And there will be
because it's going to be more expensive.
Hopefully, a hard copy available and a digital copy that will be available for purchase, like on Amazon.
Right.
That'd probably be the main outlet that you would get it from. So that's the plan.
Okay.
And we'll be working on that here soon.
And I think maybe we might order, I might order 100 hard copies just as special, gifts or something. But otherwise, it would be for your purchase.
Yeah.
That's okay, don't you think?
I think that's fine.
Because we don't ever sell anything at Shades of Grace. That's not what we're about. But in that case, that's a reflection of my ministry over many years and my life. My life before ministry, BC, before Christ.
Before you were the Pope.
Before I became the Pope of Kingsworth. So anyway, that's kind of bringing you up to date on the book. But this picture on the cover, if you're interested in that came one day when I was driving across the Netherland Inn Bridge, just a couple of miles from here, and it's where the two rivers come together. Yep. And I just thought, what a beautiful picture, and that's what we chose for that. And on the back is a picture of Sullivan Street, and there's a beautiful rainbow, actually a double rainbow.
Yes.
And you took that picture.
I did.
That must have been really either early in the morning or late at evening?
It was very early. As I was coming in, it was raining, and I pulled up on Sullivan Street, and as I was walking up the street, I noticed the
rainbow.
And as I got closer to the Shades of Grace, I noticed 2. So I got I stood right in the middle of the street to take that picture.
Well, you're not the first one to stand in the middle of Sullivan Street.
No. But I was looking I took one home last night, was looking at it, and even though I've read through this several times, what really hit me is, we take for granted sometimes, I think, being able to have these stories to share, meeting with these people, having these relationships with these folks, that most of the people who read this book, this is their first introduction to these people.
Right.
Many of these people we've known for years.
And actually, most of the people in Legion, I would say, I don't know what the percentage is, but the ones we write about, I would say 90% of them are deceased.
Yeah.
Almost all of the people, and especially the ones in here who have their photographs here, are people who've passed away, but they have been a part of our ministry. Did you get that, Jimmy?
Nope. Sorry, I carried the phone in my pocket.
Is that anybody you need to get?
No.
You sure?
No, I can get back to it.
Okay.
No problem.
So let us know what you think about that. And I know some of you, and by the way, this will help me out. I post this on my page as well as the Shades of Grace page, and I've gotten so many responses on my personal page. I'm asking you, please direct your order to Shades of Grace, to Jimmy. Put more on Jimmy. Is that okay with you?
Well, that's kind of what I've started today anyway. So that works out.
Honestly, someone had texted me a couple of weeks ago about something, and they were upset because we hadn't followed through. And it's the first time I had read the message, because on Messenger, sometimes I don't, for some reason, get those things for weeks, or I see them from 2 and 3 years ago that have never been read.
Or sometimes I'll be signed on to my personal page or the Shades page and won't get the other one. So just call here or send an email, and I will definitely put your name, which I've done that today with several.
We'll reserve a copy for you. And we are asking, if you're in a household, then please just allow us to give you one right now. And you can pass it around and read it together, because even though we ordered 500 copies this time, those are going to go very quickly. Yeah. Considering we have close to that in one worship service, then you take that and go over 2 or 3 weeks to the people who were not here. So let us just work together on this, and I think you'll be enlightened, encouraged, and maybe feel a little bit sad and a little bit glad for the stories that you find in Legion, okay?
It flows very well. You'll want to keep reading it once you start, so be prepared for that. And your first book, we don't have a lot of these right now.
Right.
And once we're finished up with those, that's 1,000.
1,000 copies
that have been out.
Yeah.
1,000. You are a 2-time published author. Arthur Treacher. Arthur.
King Arthur. I'm not only the Pope of King Arthur, now I'm King Arthur and the Knights. Okay.
But that's a lot. So we'll be happy to get you one. And it's really nice.
Yeah, we'll get that
exciting. 2 years is when we first started on that. It's almost been 2 years when we first started compiling those stories.
Yes.
So a lot of work went into that, but I know it's worth it. I know that everybody's going to enjoy it.
I'm already thinking about how we might do a third series, because the first one is Reflections from God's Living Room. This is Faces from God's Living Room. Have you got a theme for a third one?
No.
How about we could do one titled Funny Stories? That could sell a lot of books.
We
could do one with, I don't know, I guess it could go on and on. But if you've got an idea, let me know. We may or may not use it.
I always said if I wrote a book, I would call it Do You Remember Me? Because we get asked that so many times. Do you remember me? Had that happen yesterday. A lady came in, and I did. Gosh, we meet so many people. Yeah. It's hard to remember everybody, but I did remember her, remembered her face, remembered her voice. Then she started telling me some of the specifics about her life and her husband's illness. I knew exactly then. She said, "Oh, so you do remember me?" Of course I remember you. So, yeah.
Okay. Checking a message here.
Never stops.
We're 2-timing it. We're double-timing it, or whatever.
Well, it's only us here this late in the afternoon, and it never stops. And like I said, it literally took us an hour to get in here.
Yes, it did.
To get this started.
You've had this set up here for over an hour.
Yeah.
And with the camera on.
And let's see what else we got going on. I know we had a great service this Saturday.
Yes, we
About
did.
75 people in attendance.
Yes, we did.
Several new people, and then several people that weren't here. I know some folks were traveling and such. And
Yes.
but it was a great
Come
service.
on out. One of these days we're going to hit 100 and
Oh,
not even
sure.
try. Not
Absolutely.
even try.
Absolutely.
But come on out. I just think it's the best place in the world to be on a Saturday morning.
Yes.
It's so exciting. I mean, you never know what's going to happen.
No, you don't.
You really don't.
No, you don't.
And when you're viewing this on 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, it's always streamlined, edited, redacted, whatever, and you don't see all the good stuff that goes on,
The good stuff that goes on. You don't hear and see the little bloopers. And
Yeah.
the main reason we do that is for time.
Right.
That's the main reason. But yeah, we keep it, or try to keep it professional.
Yeah.
But such great music this week. Landon did 2 songs that I'd never heard him do before, and they were both great. And
I believe he's going to do a new one this week that I asked him to do that goes along with the sermon. So
yeah,
I'm really excited about this week.
it is exciting.
It's going to be good.
It sure is.
Something else that's exciting,
What's that?
you might want to mention this,
Okay.
is the documentary movie that Jason is
Yes.
putting together.
Yep.
Go ahead and talk
Our
about
friend
it.
Jason Phelan, he's been working on a local kind of television show for the last couple of years.
Yes.
And is it Sparrow's Cottage?
Sparrow's
Is that
Cottage.
Films, that's the name.
Yeah.
You can follow them on
Sparrow's
Facebook.
Cottage.
And he is putting together, interviewing some local pastors and people that have inspired him. And the Pope is one of them.
Actually, I think it's called The City of Hope.
The show is City of Hope.
The movie
He's
is
good,
City
yeah.
of Hope. And I went down a month or 2 ago, and he interviewed me by video. And what they say, about 20 minutes,
25 minutes or so.
minutes in my segment. But he's modeling the church that is featured in the movie is modeled after Shades of Grace. From our early days here in the building. He is, before the pandemic, way back in our early days, some of those miracle stories that we've talked about. So he's going to be here this weekend, I believe, actually doing some videos of our worship service.
Well, he's going to be here tomorrow morning.
Yeah, Thursday morning.
To be recording a few little things and just seeing volunteers work. He knows the church group that's going to be here tomorrow morning, and he's already cleared it with them that he can record them. And he's going to be just getting some shots. Then he will be here on Saturday morning, like you said, just kind of way back in the background, not necessarily to film the people. And I'm always careful about that because not everybody wants to be on Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah, we need to always get permission from those whose picture we take if it's going to be put out in public.
Yeah.
There are liabilities for that, and
So we try to be.
So we have to get
with that.
permission to make sure.
I mean, sometimes it happens. There's no way around it.
Right.
But still, we try to be careful. But anyway, he's just going to be in the background, just more or less just getting just a quick shot, because this is going to be part of the series that he's doing with you. That's something separate.
It is
from the City of Hope.
Yeah.
So it's going to be part of your interview section. And he did tell me, I talked to him a little bit last night, messaging back and forth, that it was coming together really nice. Really nice. And so this will be the final finishing touches. He told me he was here earlier this week, early in the morning before we got here, with a drone, getting some footage from outside. And he was going to bring a drone on the inside one evening when we're not here to get some more footage of the building. So that's exciting.
It is
and as soon as that comes out and it's available, we will definitely share that with you. Shoot, we may even play it as part of the Will and Jimmy show.
Yeah, hey, we could make a special, So God is truly doing wonderful things. God has given favor to this ministry in spite of so many odds, so much adversity and controversy and conflict in the beginning, with folks trying to close us down and prevent us from even being here as a congregation. God has overcome. And it's a beautiful thing.
I heard a lady ask you earlier, overheard this morning, ask you, well, how do you fund all of this?
How do you fund all of this? I said, tithes and offerings. She said, well, I thought most of your congregation are just poor people.
Well,
We don't know many rich people.
no.
But I told her, we dress all casual. We come to church. We do have, we have, this past week we had, we've got a couple of doctors
Yeah.
of education, PhDs. We've got medical doctor. We've got nurse practitioners. We've got nurses. We've got teachers. Just like any other congregation, anywhere that you would go, except that mixed in, there may be someone sitting beside of you who slept under a bridge last night,
Yeah.
who slept
Yeah.
in front of our door
You may be singing in the choir
and singing in the
beside
choir.
somebody
Yes.
that slept outside our front door.
That's it. That's
On
exactly
Friday
right.
night.
And that's why we dress like we do. I told someone, as a Methodist pastor, I stopped wearing robes when I came to Shades of Grace, because in this climate, in this setting, the folks are in and out of incarceration. They're in courtrooms. And how would it look if I'm standing up here in a robe? Their mind's going back to a courtroom somewhere being judged.
That could definitely happen.
So we dress down purposely and intentionally to blend in with our people and make them feel like we are one of them. And the good thing about it, we're seeing more homeless people attending worship now than we ever have in the past 11 years.
Ever.
I mean, it's
agree.
just it's just commonplace, and you may not even know they're homeless. It's a beautiful thing.
And even prior to the pandemic, we did the community meal before
Yes.
our church service on Sundays, but a lot of folks didn't stay.
Right.
And now we don't even have to do a meal.
We don't- right.
People are just coming in.
Right.
And I'm hearing from them after they've came to church on Monday, Tuesday of the following week, how much they enjoyed it,
Right.
how they loved it, how they wish they would have done this a long time ago.
Yes.
And we're just scared, and then sometimes, we may see somebody once and then not see them again for a couple of
Right.
weeks. And you
Exactly.
see them again. That's the type of church we are. That's why we don't have a membership.
That's right.
That's why, but to be a member, all you got to do is be here.
I had a
Be present.
gentleman come up years ago in a pickup and parked out front, and I went out and he said, "You have a membership roll at Shades of Grace?" And I explained to him, "We don't," but I said, "If you'd like to be a member, all you got to do is say so." And he has faithfully
Yes, he
sent
is.
his offering to us every month without fail. And I told him, "God bless you, you are a member of Shades of Grace." And I know he probably wouldn't admit it, maybe, but I saw a little tear.
Yeah.
And
And
it meant a lot.
Great. He may be watching this
Yeah,
tonight.
and if you're watching,
Yes.
I am praying for you in your special need tonight. I promise you. We love you. You and your wife are in our prayers
Yes.
constantly.
Yes.
All right.
Very
We
much.
try to keep things as in much anonymity.
Right.
See, I can use a few good words once in a while as possible. So,
And that's just one of many people that just this place touches.
yes, that God has brought. I mean,
From just every walk of life,
Yes.
every situation. And you just never know what the person sitting beside you, what they're going through right now.
no, you don't.
You just never, and that's everybody. It doesn't mean somebody that, like we were saying, somebody slept at our front door the night before. Could be somebody that has the biggest house in
Yes.
this congregation,
Yes,
the most
absolutely.
comfortable bed, the nicest car, the nicest everything, the most beautiful family you could ever imagine. But you never know what these
We
folks,
don't know.
what somebody's going
That's
through.
right.
And
Because we like putting those proverbial masks on in church.
And I think social media does that too.
Yeah.
A lot of folks like to build it up on social media when you know that's not how it is. And it's okay that that's not how it
It's
is.
okay. Yep.
You don't have to live up to, every family is different. Every person is different. You don't have to live up to what other people
Exactly.
do. God has a certain calling for everybody's life. Your calling is different than mine. Mine is different than yours. And that's
But
how
they complement each other.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
If you focus on your calling and stick to that, as we say here,
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. I need a T-shirt that says that.
Let's do that.
Stay in your lane.
Let's order something like that and say
Have
let's,
like a little road.
let's all
and
stay in our lane.
Shades of Grace on the bottom.
Yeah.
But it's when everybody does their part, it's amazing what God allows things to
Yes.
happen.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of people to do all this.
It does.
It does. So earlier today, we had Eastman Legal Group
Yes.
from the legal department provided meals for us today. And then later this afternoon, Ketron Memorial Methodist Church brought us meals to be used for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's just just a small, not even scratching the surfaces of all the people that come. And I mean, today we've had donations of clothing, we've had a lot of donations of food, canned food items, things that we can really use.
Right.
And all of that is that's how we do this.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the lady, just the idea, there was a box. She had 6 little silk bags, like purses. I said, somebody, you can make a silk purse. She said, out of a sow's ear. They're little silk purses, bags. And then beneath that, there were like 6 packages of summer sausages.
Wow. You never know
So
what it's going to
we
be.
never know what we're going to get. We don't know.
No.
I'm not sure what summer sausages are, but I guess they're kind of like salami.
Something like
Something
that,
like
like a
that.
pickled sausage. Pretty good stuff.
Pickled
kind of
sausage.
like that stuff you get at Christmas, like the old Hillshire Farms,
okay.
those kind of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Hill, remember that place? Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
Hillshire?
Are they still
I
up?
don't know. There used to be little shops in the mall
Right.
years ago.
Yeah.
Man, we're dating it. That's a long
way
time
back.
ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying though, everybody plays a part. And if you've got something on your heart that you're wanting to do, talk to us.
Well, we have a young man that's been worshiping here now for a few weeks, and I hadn't really got to know him until this past Saturday morning at the close of the service. And I noticed he went over to the corner and he picked up a little, and I recognized that it was a musical instrument inside that little, what do you call that, the cloth type
The little bag.
canvas bag.
Yeah.
But you could tell it was a musical instrument. And so I asked him again what his name is, because I'm the world's worst. And he told me his name. And I said, well, what's your instrument? He brought it. He was really happy to show it to me. And his father, who is now deceased, had made this instrument. And I did remember what he called it.
Okay, what was it called?
I forgot. I remembered it when he told me.
Okay, I got you.
I remembered it yesterday. But anyway, it looked like a small fiddle. Is that what Dr. Smitty? Banjo.
Banjo,
It looked like
yes,
a small
yes.
banjo.
Yes.
Except it was smaller. It was completely handcrafted and made by hand. And Dr. Smitty was still here after church, and he picked it up and sang I'll Fly Away with it. Anyway, I talked to Tanner, the young man, and he said, I really thought I would come today, maybe ask if I could sing, but he didn't ask. I said, well, how about this week? He said, I'll plan to sing this Saturday or play the instrument. So, you just get to know people, and sometimes you got to ask a few questions, just find out, because,
we need to mention our friend Jimmy Foster.
little Jimmy.
That just passed away.
Yes.
But what I was going to say is preparing for his funeral coming up in a week and a half.
Yeah.
Been going back and looking at old videos and old pictures of things that we can play. And there's been a lot of people over the years that have shared music
Yes.
here. Some great talents and some people who are singing from the heart.
Yes.
And we accept all of that. You don't
Absolutely.
have to be somebody that's good enough to sing at Radio City Hall. That's not us. That's not Shades of Grace. I've heard some of the people who maybe don't have the talent, but they got it in here, and it sounds better than some of the most talented people you could ever imagine.
And then we've got Oscar, who has played on the Grand Ole Opry stage, has played personally with Johnny Cash, with a lot of the big names.
Many others, yes.
So, we've got a whole variety. One person here was offered a label when he was young in one of the biggest record companies in the South.
Yeah, true.
So, we've just got a whole lot of talent.
We have somebody who plays piano and sings songs for us here every now and then that has a couple of records out from years ago.
Okay.
David Francis.
Okay, David. Yeah.
And so he was talking about that, and that he had an album, and everybody knows I love albums. So I got it and looked it up, and sure enough, there's one on eBay.
Oh, wow.
And it's from somebody here in Kingsport.
Really?
And
It's selling it?
And it's sealed Give me just 1 second. Let me pull this up, and I'll tell you what it's because
signed, sealed, and delivered.
I'm trying to work it out with them to where we can make this happen.
What kind of price they got on it?
It's David Francis. Day by Day is the name of the album, and does it say a year? It doesn't say a year.
That looks like it's about 1970.
This is definitely 70s, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to put that picture up there so you can see this. So
I would have never guessed it.
I'm trying to work that out. And then there was another album. When I eBayed his name, there was another album that came up that he was on, and it was a gospel album from Johnson City. I can't find it right off. Well, but anyway, that's pretty cool. And I really want to gift this just, to have him. That's important. That's good stuff. It is. And David is such a talented guy.
Yes, he is.
And we're glad he had car trouble this week.
Yeah, his car
couldn't be here. But anyway, but we were talking about Jimmy, our longtime friend Jimmy.
Yes.
And, he is definitely going to. He's already missed.
He's already missed
for sure. Missed. And man, it's just one of those things I guess you just take advantage of. Yeah. You could always hear him before you saw it.
And I'm so glad we've got the videos.
Oh, yeah.
And the one that really touched me, Jimmy was looking through old videos yesterday of the last 10 years, and there was a video of me baptizing Jimmy, and there was one of him serving communion.
Yes.
He was dressed in his suit and looked sharp. And then we had a picture of him next door in the foot care ministry when Brent and Vicky and all the rest of them were doing the ministry over there. And he was singing, and then he just, as the old people said, got in the Holy Ghost for a minute and shouted a little bit. So I think a lot about Jimmy, and his heart was truly a heart for God.
Yes.
And we will see him again. I'm persuaded.
The video of him doing communion, he was holding the cup, and this is prior to pandemic, and people would come up and dip in the cup. And so many of those folks that came through
are already gone.
Are not with us anymore. They're all together now.
Yeah.
They're all
together.
Thing about it, they're all together.
Yeah.
So, it's wonderful. So we'll get to play that at the service at some point.
Yes.
Looking forward to that. That will be Saturday the 31st.
A week from this coming Saturday. It'll be a memorial service.
And we've got those details on Facebook.
Yeah, we'll let you know more about that next week.
Yeah. So we're running out of battery time, I can see. I've got a couple of questions for you that should finish us up for tonight, okay?
Go.
All right. I'm going to hit these with you kind of quick. Let's see.
Do it.
All right.
Faster.
The theme of these is called by God. Noah was called to do what?
Build a boat.
Okay. Aaron was called to do what?
He followed Moses. He was Moses' half-brother.
He received the what?
Commandments.
10 Commandments, right. Joshua did what?
He fought around the Battle of Jericho.
That's it. All right.
Is that it?
That's it.
Was
You
that
got it.
it?
You got it. All right,
Joshua at the Battle of Jericho. You know that one song?
I do know that song. Okay. All right. These three are titled, Where Did It Happen? Where did God deliver the 10 Commandments?
On top of Mount Sinai.
Okay. The fall of humankind takes place where?
Garden of Eden.
Yep. Joseph is sold by his brothers to a band of...
gypsies.
Yep. Man. You're good at this.
Is that it?
That's it. You got it.
Okay.
All right. One more. I'd say we're going too fast for everybody out there, but we're just hitting it fast.
Oh, some of them's hitting it hard.
These are all titled Well Versed. The shortest verse in the Bible.
Jesus wept.
The passage that has been called Gospel in a Nutshell.
John 3:16.
Let There Be Light was in what book?
Genesis.
100%.
All right.
You got it.
Whee!
That sounds like little Jimmy. Jimmy used to call me Twin.
Yeah.
Us having the same name. He would call her and he'd say, "Hey, Twin."
Yeah. And he was 5 months, I think, younger than me.
Right.
And he'd catch about July when he hit his birthday. He'd say, "Pastor, I caught up with you." I said, "Yeah, but you're not going to stay with me long." And we laughed about that. But he always asked me, "Have you got good religion?" Mm-hmm. And that's a pretty good thing to go off the air with tonight.
Talking with his family, they recognize that as something he asked often.
Do you
That's it.
have good religion?
Do you have good religion?
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Some of it's not so good. So.
That's right. Right, make sure it is good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for joining us tonight.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.